5 high-activity chains dominated Q1 transaction volume, but high volume does not mean equal risk. The AI5 angle is really a 5-chain activity test. Solana, BNB Chain, TRON, Polygon, and Aptos each showed strong reported activity for different reasons. That difference matters more than the ranking itself. A network can process many transactions because users are paying, trading, gaming, transferring stablecoins, or simply chasing a short market cycle. The same number can point to very different durability. That is why the list should be read as a map of mechanisms, not as a simple scoreboard. Solana's strength is speed and demand from decentralized applications, especially during high-frequency trading periods. Low transaction costs helped sustain retail and institutional usage. The pressure point is congestion when volume spikes. If users arrive during a market surge and the network slows, the chain's biggest selling point gets tested. Solana's activity is strongest when throughput remains reliable under stress. So the question is not whether Solana can attract volume. It is whether the network can handle the specific moments when everyone needs execution at once. Low fees help attract activity, but reliability during stress is the standard that matters for traders and application users. BNB Chain showed stable activity tied to exchange-linked applications, trading, staking, and DeFi. That can create durable demand because users already live inside the broader exchange ecosystem. The risk is dependency. If a large share of activity comes from exchange-connected flows, the network's usage can look steady while still being concentrated around one ecosystem engine. The AI5 comparison makes BNB Chain different from Solana. One is pressure-tested by congestion and speculative waves, while the other is tested by concentration and ecosystem dependence. Stable demand is useful, but concentration can make a network less independent if one ecosystem source does most of the work. TRON's Q1 profile is more payment-oriented. Its activity is driven heavily by stablecoin transfers and wallet-to-wallet movement. That gives TRON consistency, especially when users want low-cost transfer rails. The trade-off is application diversity. A chain can be very useful for payments and still have less breadth in advanced smart contract activity. Polygon sits in a different lane. Its reported growth comes from Layer 2 scaling, lower fees, faster responses, and developer migration, but it faces structural competition from other scaling options. That makes TRON's strength clearer and narrower at the same time. Consistent transfer utility, with a need to prove broader application depth. Aptos is the growth wildcard. The activity points to rising developer participation, infrastructure upgrades, gaming, and early DeFi usage. That is promising, but the risk is ecosystem maturity. Early adoption can look fast while transaction distribution remains uneven. Developer retention becomes the real test. If builders stay and applications keep expanding, activity becomes stickier. If growth depends on short experiments or market attention, the volume can fade quickly. High-throughput chains need a reason for users to return after the first wave. For Aptos, growth quality matters more than the growth headline. A gaming or DeFi burst has to become repeated usage before it becomes infrastructure strength. The practical takeaway is that Q1 activity points to 5 different risk maps, not one winner. Solana must prove resilience during spikes. BNB Chain must prove activity is not too dependent on exchange-linked flows. TRON must prove payment strength can coexist with broader application growth. Polygon must defend its scaling lane against substitutes. Aptos must turn early experimentation into retained users and developers. The next AI5 signal is not only transaction count, it is whether each chain's main risk improves while activity stays high.